In April 2020, Gabriel Wortman, a 51-year-old denturist from Nova Scotia, Canada, carried out one of the deadliest mass shootings in the country's history. It began on the night of April 18th, in the small rural community of Portapique. That night, he assaulted his longtime partner, Lisa Banfield. After she managed to escape and hide in the woods, Wortman began his rampage. He was dressed in a police uniform and driving a car made to look like an official RCMP cruiser. Using this disguise, he moved from house to house, targeting people he knew and others at random. Several homes were set on fire, and residents were shot without warning. The attack stretched across multiple communities over 13 hours. People were killed in their homes, on the road, and even while trying to flee. The RCMP received several 911 calls, but confusion about the suspect's identity and the lack of a public alert contributed to the chaos. By the morning of April 19th, Wortman had killed 22 people, including a veteran RCMP officer, and injured others. He was eventually located and shot dead by police at a gas station in Enfield, about 90 kilometers from where the killings began. After the shootings, investigations began almost immediately. Authorities searched Wortman's properties and uncovered a large collection of firearms, many of which had been obtained illegally. He also owned multiple vehicles, one of which he had modified to resemble a real RCMP cruiser, along with the police uniform he wore during the killings. This helped him move around without drawing suspicion. The rampage left many Canadians in shock. People were especially disturbed by how Wortman had been able to impersonate a police officer so convincingly. Questions were raised about how he got access to the weapons, the uniform, and the replica vehicle. The RCMP came under heavy criticism. Many felt they had failed to alert the public in time. Despite knowing early on that Wortman was pretending to be a police officer, no emergency alert was sent to warn residents. Instead, the RCMP relied on Twitter updates, which many people did not see. This delay may have cost lives, as some victims might have let their guard down when they saw what looked like a police officer approaching. As more details came out, it was revealed that Wortman had a troubling past. He had a record of violence, including a conviction for assault in 2002. People who knew him described him as controlling, aggressive, and obsessed with law enforcement. Some reports said he had spoken about harming police officers in the past, and that he had a long history of domestic abuse. Further investigations revealed that Wortman had been planning the attack for months, maybe even years. He had built up his collection of firearms, some of which were smuggled in from the United States. He had also collected RCMP equipment and modified one of his vehicles to look exactly like a police car. It became clear that the rampage was not spontaneous, it was premeditated and carefully planned. The public inquiry that followed, known as the Mass Casualty Commission, began looking into how the tragedy unfolded, what signs may have been missed, and what could be done to prevent something like it from happening again. Survivors, families of the victims, and community members gave emotional testimonies. Many expressed anger at how Wortman was able to operate freely despite past complaints and signs of dangerous behavior. One of the most painful parts of the inquiry was the timeline of events. It showed how long the attack lasted and how many opportunities there might have been to stop him sooner. It also highlighted the delays in communication between different police departments and the lack of a province-wide alert system that could have warned people faster. As the story gained national attention, the Canadian government responded by announcing new gun control measures. Just weeks after the attack, over 1,500 models of assault-style firearms were banned. The government also promised to improve emergency alert systems and law enforcement coordination. The inquiry continued for months, digging deeper into Wortman's background. It was discovered that he had long shown warning signs, violent behavior, threats, and an obsession with power and control. Some of these signs had been reported, but no serious action was taken. Neighbors and former acquaintances had expressed concerns, yet nothing was followed up thoroughly. This raised even more questions about gaps in the system. In the end, the Mass Casualty Commission released a final report that made dozens of recommendations. These included improving how police respond to active shooter situations, creating stronger systems for tracking and responding to complaints about dangerous individuals, and making emergency alert systems faster and more effective. There was also a focus on better support for victims' families and survivors, many of whom were left with trauma and unanswered questions. The Nova Scotia mass shooting left a lasting mark on Canada. It was a reminder that even in small, quiet communities, violence can happen, and when it does, systems need to be ready to act quickly and effectively. Gabriel Wortman left behind a trail of destruction, but his actions also exposed flaws that many hope will now be corrected. For the families of the 22 people who lost their lives, the pain remains. But through the inquiry, new laws, and a national conversation about safety and accountability, there is also the hope that no community will ever have to experience something like this again.